Appreciate it, Zoe, but I gotta break down those predictions one more time because Zoe's over here like, oh man, I'm just not in it today. I forgot my I think Zoe's forgotten more of her predictions than she has remembered in these past 3 days, dude. They submitted at the beginning of the day, but it's been so tough, and it's looking like a tough one right now for London Spitfire, who have their work cut out for them against Saints.
Yeah, this is gonna
professional broadcaster. Look at him.
I was bound to do it one time, right? I was bound to do it one time. But yeah, this is a little bit of a recurring storyline, right? Especially when we look back at qualifiers, because Saints, we constantly had that discussion of, okay, Rhine comps versus the dive comps, right? That was the big discussion. What was it going to look like when we get into the actual group stages and into this tournament here, away from the qualifiers as we're gearing up for Lijiang now? Now we're here ready to look at that exact same conversation again. I mean, Saints are going to be probably playing to those Winston-style compositions, Hammond-style compositions. London, on the other hand, they have obviously picked up, right where they left off from last season, playing those Rhines. And in the qualifiers, Saints did kind of come out on top, and they certainly steered the conversation more in their direction of those Winston-style compositions, maybe looking a little bit better, especially as you develop the synergy and the execution. But now London, I mean, that's a different team, right? That's a different beast in its entirety.
I mean, it's tough, right? They cut their teeth up against the likes of Trick Room in that qualifier, but it's only getting harder. And I don't think it's a better map to actually test that Rhine versus Winston. Then on this map in particular, Lijiang Tower is a fantastic play place for those two tanks, but Control Center maybe a little bit less so for the likes of Saints here.
So getting things started here. I do like this pick here. London Spitfire opting for something that I think, I mean, it just bodes well for them. There's a lot of great opportunities to take full advantage of the Reinhardt compositions and really force some pressure, especially when we're getting started here. I mean, Control Center is there a better map for this composition to start off on against the Saints? However, I like this is a wrinkle here for the Saints. They're going, and I mean, this is basically as anti-tank as you can get. Starting off with the Orisa, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure now onto Hadi. A lot of sustain from Mikey just built into that kit. So look for Hadi to see how aggressive he's actually allowed to be in this matchup, because I expect that there won't be as much as what we've seen from him in the past because of the nature of this composition from Saints.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real with the Orisa. It is a proverbial bending of the knee to the chatty, but yeah, it makes enough sense, right? You don't want to mirror Hadi in a Reinhardt battle, or Backbone in the May, to be completely honest. Landon, though, first pick on the King. So much for that flank. Saints now have to take this one from really only one angle, and Tree can hardly build up a railgun. Mikey's already running out of cooldowns here. It's not looking too hot, but the first railgun does connect. What charge Tree can get, he makes work.
Mikey's still staying alive. Saints doing all that they can to get that value there.
Wow.
And man, I mean, Spitfire took control of the objective, but that's all they really came away with. That 14%, Saints taking control of the fight. So now they have that positioning to their advantage yet again here. And again, this is going to be something to look out for. That Mikey versus Hadi matchup, all going to come down to how much Hadi is actually allowed to take swings. And Saints are trying to limit those opportunities to an absolute minimum.
Not particularly difficult on Orisa. You just press your buttons at the Reinhardt and you really can't do much. It's like, it plays itself as long as you use your cooldowns and keep them reasonably spaced. But Mikey's a player that could take those cooldowns that are straightforward to use and make them even worse in the face of a tank player who really wants to get on top of him. He's willing to take this swing damage in the face of the Implication Matrix, and Tree gives it right back to Backbone. Custer was talking earlier, we have to see Tree show up in this match. We have to see him show up, most importantly, early on. He's been slow to start in the beginning maps of series thus far. Not this time. Comes out 2 major opening picks in 2 really important fights.
Yeah, setting the tone early, that's just so important. You can see again that pressure applied to Hadi. It looks like...
dude, Hadi's getting fun policed right now. Yeah. This guy doesn't get to play Overwatch. Oh god, the Terra Surge too. Saints have more ultimates than they know what to do with.
I mean, how do you even deal with this if you're Spitfire, though? Because the thing here with Spitfire is that they want to brawl.
You cry here, Ix.
Unfortunately,
you cry.
They can't brawl at all because Saints are split. You see Tree up on a different angle. You see King playing those flanking angles. Mikey's forcing pressure onto Hottie, so he can't really even swing into the tank. I mean, there's not really a lot of options here for Spitfire.
Soundberry now for Saints. Makes things bad for the London Spitfire. They'll throw out a Blizzard, but Mikey got the eat on it. Spitfire still come out on top. Tree's alive, though. Can't count the fight over until he's gone, but he does fall by the wayside eventually. 93, 94% cresting over here for Saints. I don't think they'll reach 99 critically, but Spitfire do get a cap.
97 is really close to that critical juncture, though, based off of if Saints win a fight. I mean, there may not be an opportunity for Spitfire to get back on. It won't be that insta cap, but not a lot of time at all for Spitfire to get back and extend things.
Oh, when it gets worse. Here comes the overclock. Tree is a dangerous man. What? I mean, he's hardly even old enough, but yeah, I'll give it to him. When he's got the overclock in his hand, that's definitely the case. Charging up another one. He's been sent all the way back to the London Spitfire spawn, which technically made a bit of space, but I'm not sure that's what Saints really wanted out of that play.
Yeah, I think Spitfire are far more comfortable now where they don't have to deal with that split setup from the Saints. And you can see Saints actually making a swap themselves already to account for that. They're not going to be able to get Tree off to the side here, so they need a little bit more support. And why not reinvest into this anti-tank setup by bringing in a Cassidy?
Dude, Hottie is having the least amount of fun on the server right now. His health bar at half, not going up anytime soon. An amplification matrix, oh, is a prayer, but it works. Somebody listened, and Hottie was the one who asked. It's a critical fire strike onto Squid, 78% now. Saints have to get out.
Yeah, not a lot of time left at all here for Saints, and you can see actually swap once again. Squid trying to figure out exactly what they need in this situation, just opts to go back to the BAB. So they still do have that immortality, but you see King on this flank. I mean, this is an absolute flank. He is all the way behind them here, and he's got the pulse. Turn their attention, and he gets a touch too.
Gets the touch, holds the pulse for a rainy day. Hottie trying to hold the rest of them off the point. Knows there's a touch inbound. Pulse bomb out. It catches an immortality field from Lynn. The tool is now dwindling for the Spitfire, as are their health bars. All down to half. How do you stabilize this point? Beginning to flip as the first bit comes through. The Shatter uncontested. Hits on a Mikey and Tree. Tree kept alive, though, by the immortality field. Taken down by Lynn, and Hottie's got the whole point to himself. Critical damage being done by the Reinhardt, and the London Spitfire are taking one sub-map. Squid might have something to say about it here. But with King down, there's just not enough DPS to find the picks. London Spitfire hold on, albeit just Yurix.
Oh, man. Saints made it tough there, but saw that touch coming in, and unfortunately, Saints weren't able to do much after that to be able to get that fight in their favor. We saw a couple of picks. I think critically, it was just all about that Earthshatter that came in from Hottie. I mean, absolute massive play. As soon as Saints turned their attention the other direction, Hottie is able to just find that opening and took full advantage. Something that Saints have to bear in mind. They just don't have the ability to block those. Yes, they can apply all that pressure to Hottie. They can make sure that he's not getting a lot of opportunities, but when he gets them, he's going to make sure that he gets value out of them, and that's exactly what got them that first round win. And now you see another map here pulled that just, I mean, it kind of just does favor Spitfire to a degree. We'll see if Saints, though, with this newer composition, Winston, they're going to swap it up. They're swapping it up. Yep.
Ball dive. All right. Tree. Yeah, there it is. That's what I wanted to see. I mean, of the people we've known to play far that aren't from EU, Tree is certainly
We've seen this already
amongst the greatest of them. And yeah, I mean, it does a lot of work. Of course, we've seen it.
I see an enemy.
Something that we saw a lot of EMEA squads pulling out. A little bit more, I think, you know, some Diva that came in here as well, but nonetheless, this is a composition that absolutely works in this meta. Just applies so much pressure, and it's actually really strong against a lot of these Rhine teams, in spite of the success of this in the past versus Goats. But there's the res coming out as well on the tree.
It's a res the price for Saints right now. Spitfire, though, are happy with their one pick. What's the angle here, though? Sparker's bodyguarding Tree right now. He is not letting him go anywhere. The shots are accurate. The sticky bombs even more so. Vega and Tree taken down from the sky. The hit scan offerings from the Spitfire just too strong.
Yeah, Spitfire just doing so well. I mean, I love this pick from Sparker, just already starting on the Cassidy. as we know that is likely going to be the case either way, but it forces Saints to, again, try a different angle here. And they're going to once again go back to Tree being on this Sojourn. Obviously a major playmaker on this pick. We already saw it earlier on Control Center, but they are so far behind now. They've given up a lot of time and resources to get into this comp.
I mean, they take a dive. Mikey's just taking a lot of damage. Tree even more so. It's starting to seem like Saints are having a hard time pushing into things. Holding ground is something they've been proficient at. They were proficient at it yesterday as well, but it's just not really been the connection you look for. Squid finds the pick, though, and with Immortality Field down, the re-engage will be strong.
Yeah, I mean, without Backbone, that is their wall. I mean, an absolute critical thing to have, and they're just not going to have it here.
But Saints won't have King either. It's an arrow shot for Squid, trying to stabilize here. Support ultimate's being thrown out left, right, and center. Spitfire on the wrong end of them, though. Tree's able to trade it out. It is getting messy, folks. Keep tracking the kill feed, because I've lost count already. Squid's looking for the pick. Spitfire are in charge of the point. Saints are just looking for an opportunity. They're just waiting for Mikey's health bar to get back up, and now they've got the mines.
Oh, Earthshatter ready from Hadi. We saw him solidify the last round with that ultimate. Can he do it again? He's looking for it. You can sense it.
Shatter available. Mikey down. We have to remember King has to try and touch point, but he can't. Sparkers marked him for death with the magnetic grenade. And the London Spitfire most likely taking in 2 sub-maps, a quick map 1 for the Overwatch League team.
Spitfire coming out on top there in a big way, though, this time around. I mean, they had to fight through on round 1. They were really struggling getting through and dealing with that flank, you know, with Tree. I mean, really not even flanking, just kind of having that side lane control, being up on the high ground. They couldn't access it with that Reinhardt composition, but they overpowered it in one fight. They held that momentum. They played with it. They took full advantage of it. And then that second map, oh man, did that feel a lot different.
And I'm starting to wonder if that's going to continue to be the theme throughout this series, right? The team holding space has a massive advantage. It seems at least as much in this case as Backbone, Mikey, and the like were all playing very, very good guards to the space that the other team wanted. And I think a lot of that comes down to where they were putting the pressure. Most notably going on to Hadi initially from the Saints, and then on the other side, pressuring out King time and time and time again alongside Tree.
Yeah, I think Saints came into this with a clear game plan, a clear strategy. Just make sure that we anti-tank as much as we can out of Hadi. And then as soon as that didn't work, it was just, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's figure out what we got to work in the past. And even that struggled. We'll have to see what kind of adaptations Saints make now, though, as we get prepared for match number 2. We'll see you then after this break.
Welcome back. We got one team on the brink of being knocked out, the other team on the brink of making it in. It is as close as it gets here, and we've got a couple important changes coming in for London, especially following a win in map number 1.
Oh yeah, big swap in. We're gonna have Admiral and Skyreaper together here now. Skyreaper, a player that I've been following for so long.
Oh,
I mean,
I
watched
remember.
him in Contenders. Yeah, I mean, big time playmaker for so many different teams that we saw him in Contenders. Obviously, saw him a little bit already as well. But as we move into Blizzard World here, I'm expecting some big things. I mean, obviously, London brings in 2 high caliber players into their roster just to bolster things a little bit, right? I mean, obviously, London ended that last season real high. Expectations then followed in suit, high as well, into this season, and they're really making sure that they round everything out. They've got Lethal now, and they've got Skyreaper as well, and that's someone I'm excited to see. However, it's Saints' opportunity to spin this match back up on its head. We're going to be moving into Blizzard World to see what they can accomplish there.
It's a litmus test, right? Like, I think this is definitely something Saints are more comfortable on. Obviously, it's one of their winningest maps throughout the qualifier. But on the other hand, I mean, Spitfire should be able to play pretty comfortably here. They're going to bring a Winston of their own, but I don't think that's going to offer up too many problems, right? We've seen it out of Hottie. He's got a solid Winston. It's not, right, the Hottie Reinhardt craziness that we expect, but certainly might be able to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, I mean, this, and even if we look back at qualifiers too, this is a map that Saints have proven that they've had a lot of comfort with. I mean, we saw them look very, very successful on this map. Now we'll see if it pays off here against a obviously very successful Spitfire team as well, but a different look here for them as they're looking to try to take full advantage of this map with a Winston setup themselves. So obviously we are used to seeing Spitfire play a certain way. This will be something a little bit different, and now with Tree and King here, Sombra, Tracer, they're once again looking to disrupt that backline and create opportunities and be the more aggressive team if they can.
I do like this Cassidy, though, from London, right? They're trying to do exactly what Atlanta did to Saints yesterday and have that strong, peelable backline that has so much damage threat. Not exactly the same in Heroes, but functionally is going to offer a similar liking to it. Saints are going to have a hard time diving onto it without taking that much damage. So as the dive comes in, take a look at the damage that Mikey's taking. Immediately, it's a magnetic grenade. It's Barker ripping shots, taking down Vega, and dissuading the likes of Saints from being able to move in, navigating the dive perfectly. Spitfire are going to claim an A without so much as breaking a sweat.
And coming in off the bench too, Skyreaper with an excellent play to start things off. Landed that biotic onto Vega, set up the kill, and then also sustained and avoided the kill that could have gone onto him. I mean, Skyreaper got hacked in that last fight, clearly was the focus target, and you would expect as much as well as the Ana in this composition. But already off to a hot start there for Skyreaper. Have to see though if he can continue. This is certainly a great way to open up some momentum for Spitfires, and obviously something that is kind of necessary against this Saints composition where you clearly can't give anything away.
Okay, but they've given one away here, so I'm starting to see some holes in your plan here. Vega traded Skyreaper down, though. That should be enough for Saints to topple this one over. A dive out of the high ground from Mikey, though. Okay, Hottie falls. Saints, clean win.
So done and dusted. That's a big fight win here for Saints, especially coming off of that neutral that just did not look that good. And now we can see a better opportunity for them, especially as we get closer to that EMP from King. That could certainly help them turn those fights around, especially if they continue to focus on that backline.
Backline of Saints under pressure right now, but actually with Hottie at half HP, it's prime time for Saints to go in and find to pick up their own, and there it is. Dive in from Mikey. Hottie's health bar never actually got back up. I think that misplay in Hottie in neutral was really what did it for them. Losing half your health and your jump means that you just have no peel left. That bubble's unavailable to protect the lights of Admiral and Skyreaper.
And look at that too, Saints. I mean, they've put themselves in such a good spot here because they still have all of those, you know, we want to go first options, where obviously with Spitfire, they're looking to try to make sure that they can deal with Saints pushing in, but Saints, when they do, are going to have so much firepower behind them, so much lethality that Spitfire are going to have to find a way to just kind of weather the storm, live through that early first push, and then try to spin the fight on its head after that. 3.5 minutes here, though. Spitfire, oh, there they go.
There's the EMP, and Spitfire have no answer. I mean, there's no sound barrier. Admiral couldn't hide even if it was up. Clean fight. 1 ult win. Saints are in charge of this map right now.
And look at that too. I mean, Spitfire also spent in that fight. Both of their DPS ults went out. And one of the major things about what they did spend is Sparker, that Deadeye. It's great at creating space, just allowing breathing room, and they don't have that as an option here. Now we'll have to see if maybe Hottie, maybe Backbone could be a big playmaker. They have Sky Reaper's Nano Boost. Let's see what they can do with it.
Do they use this Nano Boost early? Because they could use it to peel for the dive as well. If they're trying to do the same thing where Hottie takes damage. Yeah, they're trying to bait the same dive that Saints did earlier after Hottie went in, and then use the Nano Boost to leverage a win onto Mikey. But Mikey's not down. They did force a primal, but it's not a win cleanly for the London Spitfire. They still have a sound barrier, but they have to use it. The health bar is dangerously low for Saints, and finally, one falls over. It was close for a long time, but the support healing output was limited for Saints to the HPS of both their sports.
Yeah, great fight plan actually there for Spitfire. I mean, teed it up perfectly actually there. Just, we know that Spitfire, they want to react to those pushes coming in from Saints. They don't want to push early, go first, and then leave their backline exposed. They need to be able to answer the call. If Sparker or Sky Reaper are a target, they need to be able to turn that and protect their backline. And they did such a good job of that in that fight, and Saints are back at it again.
They don't have a Nano Boost this time. Last time was a Nano Boost that really saved them, right? They threw in Hottie as bait, saying, oh, look, our main tank's over here, now dive us. This time they attempt the same thing, but without the Nano Boost to save your backline when it does happen. It's much less threatening.
Always plan an exit.
So down now to about, well, almost around 90 seconds here. But well, Spitfire did get a pretty decent push going for themselves. So they will have a couple of opportunities here. Unfortunately, oh, it looks like they did actually catch King there. That is a
no, they're fine. They're fine. He's just getting the last bits of EMP.
That's good, though, because King is going to have EMP, and that position would have been dreadful for them. This is a little bit better now.
EMP out. Catches both the backline members of the London Spitfire. I think, did Admiral get Ajax by the EMP? I think he did. Oh, that's just tragic, isn't it? Sparker picks up 2 of the Deadeye. Brings London Spitfire back into things. A third, a fourth. Oh, boy. Okay. But just 4Ks today. Kind of just the trend. I guess everyone's doing it.
Yeah, Spitfire got just enough value out of that sound barrier. Just got them into position so that they could.
Did
take
it land?
That
It didn't get hacked.
It did
no?
land. It did land. It did land. Yeah, they got just enough out of it. Just creeped out just for a few seconds there. Now Saints backed up to their final defensive spawn. They're getting close to the sound barrier, but I think a little bit of reliance on Tree is going to be necessary in what is to come. Maybe they get this kill on the Sparker. Not going to happen.
They forced out the Nano Boost. I think you're happy with that trade if you're Saints right now, but how do they find a re-engage in this fight now that the Nano Boost is over? And King's gone. Spitfire have a small opportunity window here where they're 4v5, and I think they have to go for it. They're going to use a sound barrier to engage it, knowing that they were down that member for a moment, but clean it up, no problem.
Tree getting some kills there as well. Especially for a Saints team that just loves seeing him in the kill feed. That is such a big deal for him to come online. And now, Saints, I mean, they're doing a good job of stabilizing here, but they need to kind of start stringing some of this stuff together. And this is a good position in the map for them to start doing that. One thing that they're going to be having to be wary about here, though, especially, is the fact that Backbone is coming up on this pulse bomb to match Trees, and we'll have to see who's going to get the most value here.
It's Saints. It's Saints. End of the day. Period. They throw in a Kitsune rush, a quick dive from Mikey, and Spitfire topple over. No answer in sight.
Only, I mean, like, one real solid opportunity left. Maybe 2 fights, though, here left for Spitfire. And they're coming up on so many of their weapons. Still have to contend, though, with the pulse bomb, with the EMP from King as well.
Yeah, the options are piecemeal for the London Spitfire for the next couple seconds or so. Now Admiral can hide with that sound barrier. Can they find the Lucio, though, with the hack? That's the big question. Pressure onto Hottie. They're trying to force it early. They're doing everything in their power to not have to deal with the sound barrier. And they got it out of Admiral.
Oh,
they got the sound barrier out, but King died! Backbone runs him down on the translocator. A hero play from the DPS of the London Spitfire. Buys their way back into the fight. Now we've got the Deadeye. It was just as lethal on point B, and Saints want nothing to do with it. They would not want to be on the business end of that Peacemaker. Saints, how do you stabilize here? Sparker will not take no for an answer. Catches Tree with a magnetic grenade, and they're careening towards the end of the map.
On top of that, Hottie's just buying
God.
so much space. Oh, this could be a big turnaround, though. Mikey looking to juggle. Hottie comes back into the fight, though. It's time for a little bit of Winston on Winston.
They EMP 3v4. This is just... And they got nothing for it. What's the tool here? You have Sound Barrier into Nano Pulse. This is going to be a difficult engagement for both sides. But Backbone connects onto the Pulse, makes one more hero play. He will have won the map single-handedly. Nano Boost in. Hottie in the back line.
Oh, Mikey needs a little bit of help here to sustain. If Mikey goes down, who's going to touch? Who can
Backbone's
sustain?
done it again! 2 fights in a row! The man just finds answers! Saints cannot touch the point! And Spitfire have pulled from where the sun don't shine AC point here on Blizzard World.
Backbone, we don't count that. We don't count that. We don't count that. Mikey was dead. There's no shot, man. Nonetheless, though, Spitfire, they squeak one out. And again, it comes down to game plan. I mean, clearly they came in with such a great fight plan for a lot of these different engagements. They once again had a great one. And I don't know how much of the setup was there or if that was just an adaptation mid-fight where they noticed, okay, we know we have a clear advantage. If we just go ahead and just park Hottie on the point and just leave him there, give him the advantage of the nano boost, and we might be able to just out-trade sitting on the objective. And if we can kill Mikey, nobody is going to be left to contest us. Great job there.
Yeah, I mean, Backbone knew the targets 2 fights in a row. Running down the translocator to stop the EMP was so clutch. And then King just, you have to think that was a panic EMP, 3 versus 4. There was no following up on it, no other DPS. A rough one.
I'm tired of hearing Backbone's just a Mei player. Let's give some respect. Let's give some respect here.
Look at the brains on this dude. The brains to follow King back to his translocator is positively insane. A phenomenally played one, and one that rightfully bought London the entire rest of the map. Now Saint's job just got a lot harder.
Yeah, I mean, that's a full cap, and let's talk stakes here as Saints are opening things up, getting into position. If London wins this map, they lock themselves into a spot, and Saints will not move forward. So Saints have to win this one, and they're getting started on Hottie early.
And this is a position Saints are relatively comfortable in, but after yesterday versus Atlanta, I don't think they're feeling as comfortable on Blizzard World. Let's see what King can offer up here. A hack onto Backbone, not found, but they got Spitfire at least backed up to the point.
Looking a little different this time around for sure against the Spitfire team that just seems so prepared for them. King, though, getting into position. There goes the hack.
I mean, it's a hack, but not really much damage to follow up. Mikey, though, is already in a lot of trouble, so that dive was just entirely lacking King. You got to give credit to Backbone, who was guarding that flank earlier on.
Yeah, and you have to put some respect on this as well for Spitfire, because obviously the name of the game here is the same for Saints. You know, it's a side swap, but the game plan has not changed. They still want to try to get into that backline. They're still looking to engage first and go early, be aggressive, find that early pick. But Spitfire, same for them, same story. They're trying to make sure that as soon as Saints go in, they counter that and pressure back. And they've done such a good job of sustaining that priority target from the Saints and making sure that they can turn those fights around. And they have great positioning here as well.
Got the position to dive, but I mean, Sky Reaper just will not topple over, will not fall under any circumstances. It's 2 for 2 trade. Saints are gonna make things messy though as they lose a third member. Pulse Bomb makes it the whole fight. Backbone is just on one right now, man. This dude's cooking up something different because he is giving nothing but beans to the Saints.
What type though? What type? What are we talking about?
Baked.
It's got to be
Straight
baked.
up.
Yeah, it's got to be baked. Yeah.
The most disrespectful type.
Okay, fair enough. Nonetheless, though, Admiral, I mean, everybody, including Admiral, in such a good spot here. 2 minutes drained from the Saints here. An opportunity to actually straight up one-to-one the EMP. I mean, King's going to get into position here, but Admiral can answer that very cleanly. So can Sky Reaper. Whoever that target is going to receive a ton of support.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. He caught him.
It's tough. They got to reposition. It's not the end of the world. Not everybody on Saints was ready for the dive following that. The EMP actually might be better. Admiral's hiding, doing a fantastic job of it, and he got the beat off, and it manages to catch all 5 members of the London Spitfire. Saints run like cockroaches away from the light that is Sparker with the Deadeye right about now, and I would too, if something like what point B happened to me. They've got control of the point though. Saints have the advantage. Sound Barrier used, re-engagement found. Hottie the first to go, Spitfire to fall afterwards. We will see a B point here for Saints. If Mikey thrives this Pulse Bomb, which we'll hold our breaths for, but he does manage to.
It looks like Saints are going to be able to solidify this, but at a massive cost. I think certainly it does bode well for them that Spitfire spent just as heavily into that fight as well. But again, Spitfire can get positioned. They can get set up exactly like we saw on point A. And we've seen how that's proven to be a little bit of a struggle here for Saints, trying to rotate, get into position themselves, and not have King actually get spy checked, because Backbone, Hadi, they keep finding him in his rotations.
He's playing Frogger, right? He's trying to cross the road without getting hit by all the flying projectiles. It's a more difficult task in Overwatch, though, than it is on a 2D platformer. Does manage to make his way somewhere, but how much EMP charge being built? Instead, just moving the cart forward for Saints, and the recall being taken out of Backbone should actually just mean more space on that cart for Saints if they manage to hold this neutral.
Oh, a great job taking that pack. Forces the recall early. Tree no longer can take that duel. Backbone, I mean, that's a little bit of a victory for them moving forward. Oh, man.
Yeah, sitting out in the open against Skyrim Pizana will do that to you. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, unfortunate. Oh, King's going back to spawn. One-way ticket.
Yeah, that's two real quick ones. 100 to 0'd. Out of the mix there. 2:15 on the clock here for Saints. They are coming up on some necessary tools they're going to need. And again, that same problem that we saw from before, opening up their attacking phase. It's rearing its head yet again. Just can't get into position to even take a fight, let alone win one.
They've got tools, though. A lot of ultimates available. It's Mikey diving in first. A hack onto Sky Reaper. Takes him down. They had no clue that King was behind them. And honestly, I'm confused how King got there, too, in such quick amount of time. Remember, he came all the way from spawn and ended up in Sky Reaper's back pocket.
Man, Sky Reaper actually didn't really even spend his biotic, didn't really throw all too much. It looks like he was trying to hold that, but as we see this fight kind of break down, this does mean that Saints are at least going to be allowed to push the cart a little bit, but Hadi's already back, and of course, Spitfire, they have all their ultimates. No, they have all their ultimates. It's fine.
Doesn't manage to get out yet. Cost him a leap, cost him the bubble. He'll go back in now. Nano boost in tow. Big question is, who's Sky Reaper putting it on? Right, because we've seen it time and time again on the Spark, but Hadi's a very optimal target in situations like these where you already have the high ground, where you already have a relatively safe space to cover for yourself. Spitfire refused to use any ultimates here. They know Saints have to engage onto them.
Saints, I don't think Saints are even really looking for Skyreef, but they can now, of course, with Backbone out of the picture. And I mean, time is going to be everything here. Spitfire might have to spin in a 4v5 just to sustain long enough to get Backbone back into the fight.
Tonberry engaged by Vega. EMP out from King. Everything's being thrown in by Saints, and they still managed to lose one to the Deadeye. Tree falling a little early, unceremoniously, but the London Spitfire are down. It's a little expensive for them, but it should net them a point regardless.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to capture that momentum there, to be able to drive that payload forward, get into that final section of the map. Obviously, we know that Saints has to make it to the end, and they needed that extra little bit of time to make sure that they could ensure that as a guarantee. Now, of course, as well, London Spitfire spent both their DPS ults there. However, a lot of those kind of counter dive options are still available for them, and that's going to be key in these coming fights, especially without the worry of an EMP and a big sleep in biotic onto Mikey as well.
Mikey's in trouble. Spitfire have ultimates, and I'm going to be honest, I think the biggest thing here, King's on a timer to get that EMP up. He has a minute 20, and he's spending time shooting tracers and not tanks to get such a critical ultimate into the playing field. London Spitfire can hold their cards close to their chest. Kitsune rushes out. Easy answer with the nano boost and the primal rage. Squid does manage to find Sky Reaper regardless, though. Hadi losing track, not peeling maybe as well as he should have. An opportunity has been given away to the Saints, gifted by the main tank of the London Spitfire. Backbone trades one back, though, and now it's Saints fighting a scrappy one without a tank.
Oh, and Spitfire, though, they're coming up with some of the kills that they're going to need to be able to stabilize here, and they do, of course. Looks like they are going to do that still, though. The payload is pushing, so not at all a loss for Saints at all by any stretch. And 40 seconds on the clock. You have to appreciate the timing that King might get this EMP at. It could be critical.
He's got to go quick, because remember, if he gets found out by being spy checked one more time, right? Like, that is enough time to set him off from not getting this EMP off in time or in the correct place. A pulse bomb out, another fight win here for London Spitfire. King's got the opportunity. There is so much pressure on the back of one man right now. I do not want to be in his seat.
Responsibility is out of this world. And here's the concern here as well, Dor. It might take more than that. even if King gets a 5-man EMP and they wipe the floor with Spitfire, they might still need another fight, and Spitfire won't even let them give it to the
They're
top.
trying to preempt it. They're trying to force King onto the cart. There's no real follow-up for this dive because everyone else is being zoned so far away. Spitfire have found an advantage. Mikey getting taken to Pain Town right now. Saints have a minor advantage, but Hadi's health bar still remains stalwart inside of his own bubble. Sound barrier available, and Vega pops it immediately, looking for the head of Hadi, and he's got a primal rage in the nick of time. He pops it. London Spitfire are back in full force. The cavalry have arrived here, and they're not here for just heads. They're here for a spot out of groups.
Oh, Spitfire coming up on their support ultimates, though. That could easily turn the tides back into Spitfire's favor. Saints need picks, and they need them now.
Gets in a rush out, answered by the sound barrier. They each lose one, though. Mikey coming up on a primal range that could extend this fight out to as long as they need it to. Nano boost from Sky Reaper, thrown onto Hadi, putting everybody into a small room, each getting zapped. The electric chair is their fate. 3 members right now for Saints dancing around the cart looking for picks, and they're progressing slowly but surely towards the end, but also closer to the spawn of Spitfire. They can't step off the cart. They need picks, and they need them uncontested. They lose 1 for 2, and it's into the back line for Mikey, picking the health bar back up, but they're dwindling in numbers, and Sparker's got that Deadeye. We know how lethal it's been. We know how lethal he's been. They step off the cart for but a moment. Into the back line, dives Mikey off the cart for a moment. Azuzu to save his life from downtown by Squid. They bought their way back into the fight, but how on earth are you going to do this against Spitfire? They've got the tools, they've got the members, and long can Hadi stole them off the cart. Tree's got a pulse bomb in a dream, though. Can he make it work? An answer from Squid. The remaining members dressing, searching for any opportunity, and pulse bomb out. The card on the line. The Deadeye from Sparker looks to answer. All 5 members huddle behind. Overtime burns down, but by God, Saints have made it.
And guess what? This one might just count. C9 called out by Saints. It might actually count there on that one. Spitfire just weren't able to contest it. Oh man, the dream is still alive. A contenders team remains in the mix, at least for the next minute or so. Spitfire, they're going to attack first, but man, you got to catch your breath after that one.
We only get a minute more of this from either side. I don't want to see this game end here. So, like, the best of 3s have been great for when the 2-0s are quick, but if Saints are to go out 2-0 in this, it will have been painful knowing what it could have been.
What they could have been as well. Obviously, we've talked about it already before in this matchup, as well as in previous matchups that Saints have had. I mean, CJ, clearly a loss for them. Squid has come in and really, I mean, stepped up to the plate in a big way. They just haven't had much time with them.
Squid's been going crazy, dude. I mean, we've talked about stepping into the shoes of somebody of the caliber of CJ. Squid found 2 openers in the course of that one final fight. That is insane clutch.
Gonna have to rally behind that. Obviously, Spitfire have just done such a good job of marking King, spy checking, finding those early pathways for success. Spitfire gonna be looking to do that yet again here. They seize King. They once again spot him out early, sends him back. But, all right. Pretty much 1 opportunity, maybe 2 for both these teams. Who's gonna pull out ahead?
Pressure's on. I mean, Saints, the onus is on them. They've been having to dive the London Spitfire time and time again. The Spitfire now having to capture a point of their own. It's a much more difficult task. Saints re-dive onto the backline of London Spitfire. The counter dive, not as successful as it has been in the past. They got to get the heck out of Dodge right now. The second it doesn't work initially, it's over. Squid can't TP out. Saints are on the ropes.
Oh, Saints, they're backed off. They need to get back in here as quickly. I mean, they cannot allow
Vega
to push through them. They can't allow this.
Where's he going, dude? He's trying to run into the ocean, go anywhere. There's a recontest from Mikey. Do you try this? Because you're also giving up the initial choke. They're going to go for it. Saints are betting it all on black. A dive into the back line. It's Sparker under pressure. Tree trying to regroup with his tank, but now he's stuck on an island. Oh, God, Tree can't get out. It's all falling apart for Saints.
Oh, this timing is key for Spitfire as well. Saints, they're giving up those late deaths, which means that they're going to be, you know, obviously off kilter already. You can see that continuing here, but Spitfire are going to get so much free progress out of this.
This is where that Overwatch League experience comes in. Spitfire have been in these situations before. They've been on the brink of knockout. They've been on the brink of victory. They know what it's like to be under pressure. Saints, as youthful a roster as they are, don't have that in a player, but maybe Mikey, who's got to pull the team together in important moments like this. A potential dive onto the backline isn't had. Hottie's taken low. Anti-nade thrown in. Primal Ratio being forced out. Spitfire have to use ultimates pretty early here, and Skyreaper's looking the other way. Meanwhile, Sparker's doing some real work. Skyreaper's literally 1v2 in the back and not dead yet. How? Sparker has gotten 3 on the other side. Support ults, both of them stay up for Spitfire. This push could keep going.
Yeah, I think it might too, because Saints, they're going to be looking for those early kills, and look at the tools that Spitfire have. It's everything that they could possibly need to be able to counteract an aggressive dive. That push in that we're going to see from Saints, the EMP, it's going to be crucial here. Saints have to land this and land it earlier. Spitfire are going to be able to turn it around.
Pressure's on King again. Only 94% to the EMP though. They're engaging before they actually have the ultimate. Spitfire have all theirs meanwhile and pop them. EMP out, but the dive, the follow-up, it's okay, but it's not particularly coordinated from Saints. It's a complete mess, but Squid's found 2 again! This Kiriko can't be stopped! He lives not in the shoes of CJ, but is trying to outgrow them right now as he has clutched up not 2, but 3 times for Saints.
And that's the exact reason why they picked him up. Just in the clutch moments. We've seen that from Squid in the past, dating back years as well. In the Path to Pro scene, came back recently with Kiriko, and oh man, what a performance he's had to stop that push. Unfortunately though, Dor,
a push is a push.
the damage I worry might be done, unfortunately for them, but still an opportunity for them is on the horizon. They still have a shot here.
And all thanks to Squid right now. I mean, that 2K was as big as they get. Let's take a look back. I think we had the POV of Squid here, yeah. I mean, look at this guy. The damage output. Just stop worrying about Suzu. Stop worrying about healing. This guy seems to be where most of the first picks are coming from. And it's such a messy fight as well.
That's where you like to see the Kiriko as well. And then the follow-up from Tree. This team just connecting together so well. Shout out to the replay team as well. That was just beautiful. But here we go.
All right.
I gotta say, Dor, Saints, it is, I mean, it feels like everything is against them right now, but they gave themselves an opportunity. Their backs are against the wall here. We've seen we've seen them claw themselves out of these situations in the past. That was against contenders teams, collegiate teams. Can they do it against an OWL level competitor? Oh man, what a story that would be.
It's the best of the best on the other end. The London Spitfire have been stalwart in their defense. Saints, one dive. You have to imagine Mikey, who's been to the very top, is leading the comms right now, telling them to be calm. The hack lands onto the Ana, booped off the high ground as King. Can they find another target? No. Saints fail on their first dive, and we know what happens following that. They usually lose. They've got to find a way to regroup safely, but they can't. Mikey falls every single time. That dive isn't successful initially. How are they going to get out? They're all stuck on the docks.
Oh, Saints have to get out quick too. If they're not able to escape this, and King might not, oh man, Saints might not have a good opportunity. Spitfire, they played that so perfectly.
But Saints have played well enough to at least give themselves another chance. Mikey's in on the ball. Oh! Oh, they're gone! Everyone's gone! The boot from Mikey's followed up by Vega! Thought they needed it most! Saints have found the most unlikely of plays and drink yet again from the chalice of vitality, giving themselves one last shot at life here. This is what Overwatch was meant to be played for.
How does this keep happening? Saints, once again, they've done it. A miracle. Another miracle. Now, what can they do with it? We saw what San Francisco Shock was able to do with their miracle earlier. They turned it into a match win. Saints have an opportunity here.
All right, stay calm, Saints. Keep it together. See if they can find their way through. They've got a pulse bomb on Backbone, Tree, and King building up towards important ultimates, nearly that EMP. They're buying as much time in this choke as they can. Spitfire can't safely engage onto them, and I think they know that. It's a counter engage with the Kitsune Rush. Spitfire are now in a very uncomfortable position, but they've got Sparker in tow. He's got a first set of 2. He's looking to claim a third head, but King's fighting back. The EMP knocking off half of the health bars. Saints have a spawn advantage. Just reminder, Hottie low on HP. Overtime! Oh, what a clutch blink from Tree! He's just managed to get, he's got the stick on Hottie as well. They just have to touch the court, buy time, and the players will come. Saints believe, and they will continue.
Oh man, they put Spitfire off balance in that one just long enough to get those respawns. But look across the top of your screen right now. Look at how destitute Saints are in their economy. Spitfire, not the same story. It's gonna come down to this final fight though, and I think everything rests on a pick potential for the Saints. Squid, King, Tree, Mikey, Vega. Someone has to find something or Spitfire will overpower them.
They've got the hack onto the Lucio. Oh, Vega's fallen already. Saints counting their numbers as they dwindle. Overtime, remember, they have to touch this card at any given point in time. They're watching their teammates fall one by one. Any member that's not on the cart has been sentenced to death. London Spitfire have come to claim, and what they'll claim is a spot out of groups.
Oh man, they've done it. London Spitfire are moving on. They've solidified it, and in one of the toughest groups, certainly, objectively,
sure.
in this tournament, they are going to be moving on. Unfortunately for Saints, the road ends here to a degree. They still have a match to come, still after this one tomorrow, but that'll be just to see if they can play spoiler to someone, or maybe just to, I mean, they can't even really do that. There's already 2 teams locked in, so they can't even really do that, actually, Dor.
I mean, man, we have gotten 2, at least you and I, insane 2-0s. Yesterday was like, stop 2-0s. You really cannot put into words the level of match we've gotten today, despite the score lines. And of course, we've got a massive player of the match right now, and it's Hottie. Insane communications with the team, leveled them up massively, and I think the biggest thing about his play was how measured it was. So much aggression being thrown at him, being able to change when it was being thrown at his backline, understanding when to be aggressive, when to peel, and when to sit with the space and trust players like Sparker to do what they do best. It's that ability to change at any given point in time. It's that versatility that makes Hottie such a weapon.
Yeah, Backbone obviously stood up and had some great plays, but Hottie, I mean, just throughout this series, just incredible. I mean, all that focused pressure to open this entire series up, and yet still maintained that composure, was able to deliver some, I mean, killing blows in a big way. I mean, Earth Shatters abound, and then when we saw that go over to map number 2, that's where he really took things over on the Winston. You can see the stats there, clearly a major factor in this victory, and well fought by Hottie and the rest of the London gang.
It's just as impressive, man. The coordination with the team was so on point. I mean, I think back to that one play when they were thinking, okay, we got this way prior, so now we're going to send Hottie up to the high ground in order to bait for us. Just creative fight planning time and time and time again. That's exactly what you want from your main tank. This guy deserves it through and through, and London deserves that qualification spot, dude. Saints made him work for it here. Holy.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Custa was saying, okay, maybe, people weren't feeling as much the London Spitfire, leading into this match. There was some concerns based off of what we saw earlier. Well, I think maybe now at least some of those were answered. But again, Saints, contenders team, did really, they really made them pump the brakes a couple of times, but this is still an incredible Saints roster. You have to put some respect on their name. I know a lot of people are going to look at this and say, oh, but that was just a contenders team. That's not just a contenders team. That is a phenomenal roster. You should expect to see a lot of those players in Overwatch League at some point for certain.
Yeah, and you expect a team that's now been tempered, understanding what it's like to lose. Like Saints coming into this tournament didn't know loss. Now they got smacked by the rain and hell, more handily against the Spitfire. They're clearly getting more used to this pressure. I'm excited to see what they can do, but I'm also excited to hear what our desk has to say about the match and about the day in general.
Thank you, Doran Hurix. Welcome back to Watchpoint Post Show. I'm Zoe. He's Danny. The other guy is Costa. We got everything you need to know about the Overwatch League Pro-Am day number 3. The other guy.
The other guy.
What an intro.
It's this
the
way.
other guy. That guy.
Just, yeah.
That guy. Yeah, directions are hard. So
Yeah,
predictions. Dor calling me out there. Yes, I forget my predictions. But that's because I enjoy the element of surprise. I want past Zoe to surprise future Zoe. I'm living for that. Smart. Exactly. Every day is exciting in my head. Anyway, speaking of excitement, that match went the distance. Like, this was a very entertaining match to watch. I love that was our last series. We're going out with a bang. So let's talk about the match that just concluded. We have to hit on a few players there individually because there were some great plays in this one.
Yeah, just overall a great match. As we expected, in a more controlled environment, we were expecting London Spitfire to come out and play their game a little bit more. And for the most part, it looked pretty clean until the back half of Blizzard World when Saints just refused to lose. They put everything that they could out there. They had that incredible double boot to keep that overtime push alive. They had so many great ultimates, the C9 towards at the end. They did a great job of just continuing on the edge. And I got to echo what Doran Hurek said. There's so much talent here on this roster that have been in our, or we're expecting to see in our. As much as they might be knocked out of the prime, we will see them again tomorrow. As much as they're knocked out of going into the bracket stage, you will see these guys more in the future.
Yeah. That last boot from Mikey and Vega on Blizzard World. We were all
we lost our marbles together
like, wow.
with Dor. Like that was perfect. That was chef's kiss. We did love to see that. Now London, however, did take the W, which means that we get another opportunity to have a chat with them. So please welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show, Sky Ripa. How you doing? Woo! Congratulations, not just for the victory, but for officially advancing into the Pro and bracket play as well. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Finally won a map. So yeah, feels good to win.
Feels good. Feels good.
I want to ask you because I mean, after joining the London Spitfire, I think today was our seeing you play on stage. So I just want to get your thoughts on it. Like how do you think you performed? And how do you feel playing with the new London boys?
I think I performed alright, but I don't know. I'm never happy with. Even if I play good or if I play bad, I'm never satisfied with my performance. I always want to do better. Yeah. What was the rest of the question?
I said, how does it feel to play with your new team?
Oh yeah, it feels really good. I'm really enjoying my stay here at the London Spitfire. Everything is great. It's like actually living a dream. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to follow up on that because you're obviously coming from the Vancouver Titans that weren't that successful last year. How has it felt slotting in as another player coming into such a, I would say, well-rounded and friendly team environment like the London Spitfire?
I feel very welcome here, and I've known most of the people are from Europe, and I played with them. Like when I was in Hurricane, I was teammates with Sparker, with Admiral, so we all knew each other from before. So it's not like meeting new people. It just feels natural, kinda.
I love that. I love that. Rekindling some friendships, add synergies there. And yes, Skyripa, don't be too hard on yourself. Although that is a great sign because that means you're always looking to improve. And we've seen a lot of great things from you already in the league. We can't wait to see more. Thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations once again to advancing into bracket play. And we're very excited to see what you and the London Spitfire are cooking up for that one. Have a good night.
Yeah. Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sky Ripa, London Spitfire, they made it through in their group and they showed us some really, really solid Overwatch so far. The Rich Man's Brawl.
Yeah, the Rich Man's Brawl.
That's right.
Sky Ripa is a very talented player, overall. I think he fits this roster very well. You're never going to be satisfied with your performance when you're a pro player. He obviously had a hard first map in the earlier series today, but on that Ana, I think he made a lot of really clutch plays, was really helping and enabling Huddy, our player of the match. So he should be proud of at least his initial performances.
Yeah, no, I think he should give himself more credit because I mean everyone has those first match nerves, right? And after that, even on this match, I think he performed very, very well. So I think Sky Ripa, you're doing great.
Exactly.
You're probably not going to watch this.
Danny thumbs up. Two thumbs up from Danny.
Double thumbs up. No, but like I said, just at the end of the interview, just like I said, at the end of the interview, if you're unsatisfied with your performance, that means you're sitting down, you're going to keep on improving. Yeah. We're all hardest critics on ourselves. So yeah, we're big fans. We love to see it. Another thing we love to see was, of course, the Shock finally getting a victory, which we thought would come a little earlier for that team. But I think after today, the one big question which still remains and still needs answering is, did the San Francisco Shock's performance quiet the critics? Did it?
No. Just no. If I'm going to be honest, I am one of the harshest critics of the Shock just because of what they do, and so is the general population, because they are, two-time champions. They are such a great team. They're not living up to the standard that they need to be at right now. If you are the San Francisco Shock, they barely clawed through due to some heroics from Proper. They need to be more well-rounded. I think the tank role is where I'm seeing the most inconsistency. Their backline is really struggling to the performance that we had expected from them. So as much as they get away with it today, they need to put themselves in better positions, because as a whole, they themselves and the community expect more from this team.
And plus, during our interview with Finn, he even said that, they're still in the process of building that team synergy because they're not living together. It's sort of hard to sort of get that up to a level where they are, sort of expecting themselves to be at. So as of right now, I think we could still be a little bit harsh. And just like Kusta says, because San Francisco is such a good team with such, with such a stacked roster, we know that they could do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we see what they can do once they get to play together, once they get to play without a ping. They're not bad excuses, guys. Like, I think there's definitely some value there, some takeaways from there where you can be like, yeah, I guess they could have done better if it weren't for these things. However, after today, we have some breaking news, of course, after the matches, and that is Atlanta as well as the London officially advanced with their victories from today. But also, we do have some eliminations. There we go. Let's take a look at those groups.
Wow.
And unfortunately, Vegas Eternal and the Saints, as well as Timeless, those are officially out. However, in Group A, there's still some things to be played for. So we'll see if Shock or Trick Room or the Titans will pull through. Florida Mayhem almost certainly through. I guess the question is just first or second.
Yeah, I think Florida's not exactly locked in just yet. There could be some shenanigans that go on, of teams beating other teams. They're in a good spot at 3-0. Let's just put it that way. So while not many people expected in Group A San Francisco Shock to be 1-2 and likely to not make it through.
Yeah, and if we're looking at tomorrow's matches, which one of those do you think is going to be the match of the day?
Honestly, I'm going for Florida versus Trick Room. I'm curious to see what Trick Room can do. They're coming off of a high of beating San Francisco Shock. They're still feeling themselves a little bit. Florida are going to be an aggressive team. Are they going to be able to sort of match that aggression that the Florida Mayhem are known for?
And of course, the biggest match has to be San Francisco Shock against Vancouver Titans. Vancouver Titans looking really, really good. San Francisco Shock, they did get the win today, but they do seem a little bit shaky still. So we'll just have to wait and see who wins tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm especially excited for this one because I know whatever happens, Titans they're gonna come out with the memes.
Oh yeah.
Someone's just here for the memes.
My socials are gonna be in a good place tomorrow. That I know for sure, and I appreciate that. But no, I mean, even some of the teams which unfortunately are out already, they will be playing tomorrow still, so they still have an opportunity to go out with a bang, which we absolutely love. Lots of great matches to conclude those first two group, but what a day it was today. And friends, it's been once more a blast to have you both with me on the desk. I also want to give a shout out to Lemon Kiwi, Leg Day, Hurix, and Door for calling all the action today.
Dude, Door went crazy.
And once again, I know, right? he was living
Someone
that
check on Door. Someone check on Door.
Is he alive?
I don't know if he's alive at this point. He might have passed out directly after that cast, but honestly, it was a great cast. It was a great match.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. Send some love to Timeless, Saints, and Vegas Eternal, who are officially not going to make the bracket play. But again, they do have another opportunity to show us what they got to go out with a bang tomorrow in their last few matches. So make sure to tune in to see the epic conclusion of the first week of the Overwatch League Pro Am tournament. Same place, same time. That's it from us. Have a great night.
Night.
Thank you.
Turkey.